Apple iPad 9th generation has been around for a little while. However, this last year was the first year that Apple did not disseminate a new iPad since they created the Apple iPad. What was it, 12 years before that? Whatever. I know. However, this laptop is supposed to reduce its price. That's kind of one reason why I'm discussing it. If you're patient, in a little while, I will show you a website where you can potentially save, 20 some percent, $80, whatever, off the manufactured retail price. Normally, the Apple iPad is sold for $329, but the price dropped the day after Thanksgiving, and now it's dropping again. Anyways, I don't really care about prices, but you know what I'm saying. Until I have to buy something, then I care. You know what I'm saying? This is the Apple iPad 9th generation. It comes with the A13 Bionic microprocessor chip. They claim it has ultra-wide front camera with also a center stage. It folds up. Now, the storage space starts with 64 gigabytes. That's not very much. Boy, yikes. Yeah, that's a bare minimum nowadays. These operating systems are bloated and more bloated with more bloatware. Yeah, at a minimum, boy, I don't know about 64 gigabytes, but that's what they claim. Now, that's the entry level. But I don't know if that's even enough nowadays, man. It starts from $329, but if you're patient, in a little while, I'm going to show you a web page where you can purchase it potentially for $249. Brand new. Okay, this is just marketing fluff. And it has multitasking. What else? A13 Bionic microprocessor. The term fast, that can mean anything. But it does have integrated graphics processing unit, obviously, because it's a tablet. Now, they claim you can play some games, but I don't know if I would consider this a gaming tablet. I'd have to go over their specifications. Depends on what kind of game that you would play. Machine learning. Now this was 2 years ago, actually. This past year, Apple did not release any iPads for the first time ever. I don't care, but I guess people were butthurt. I don't know. Who cares? And it had to have been clickbait. Some clown wrote an article, and the title was, Apple forgot about the iPad this year. Bullshit. I call bullshit. You know why? These corporations, they don't have a lack of memory. That was by design. They didn't feel like releasing an iPad this year. It's not a big deal. Who cares? Most likely they'll release one this upcoming year. But to think that a giant billion-dollar, trillion-dollar, who knows how much Apple is worth, that they just forgot to manufacture one? Yeah, they forgot to design one. They forgot to sit down and plan. They forgot to have meetings. I mean, just absurd. Who writes this crap? I mean, just the most absurd statement ever. Or one of them. No, it's just, every time I say that, then I run across some other clickbaiting article. Just, who would believe that? Yeah, Apple Incorporated, they forgot to, manufacture and design and get approval from the Federal Communications Commission for their new iPad. Just give me a break, man. Now, it says neural engine drives machine learning. It says, quote, a more powerful neural engine drives machine learning based features like live text in Apple iPad operating system. Well, currently, almost the only time I ever hear that term, machine learning, is when it deals with artificial intelligence. It does. Yup. They are redundant. they have an example of why you would want to buy this iPad with that A13 microprocessor. One example is the Adobe Fresco and Procreate. I have to be careful. Yes, there was a certain platform that I'm getting close to. Me personally, I think I would say 100%. They use artificial intelligence. I was live streaming the other day on a certain platform that I will not mention, and all of a sudden I was using their jankety software that's awful, right? Just bloated, just garbage, whatever. But I'm restricted at this point. I cannot obtain a live streaming key and then use my own preferred software. Anyways, I was live streaming and all of a sudden it popped up a message saying that your live stream has now been flagged as adult content only and blah blah blah. Now, in that software, before you live stream, you can choose whether or not your content is for children or age 18 or younger. Well, I don't recall talking about much at all. I might have cussed once or twice. I might have, but get it? I think that they use artificial intelligence and their algorithm is designed so that even on a live stream, bam, it has a word filter and it can detect every word that you say. I'm not making that up. Okay. So the word procreate, nope. That's what Adobe came out with, and I'm not going to even discuss that further. Nope. I don't trust any live streaming platform, any of them. I don't trust any of them. Now, they claim that it has all-day battery life. I don't know about that. They do have a disclaimer here. We'll check it out later. Yep. So you notice there's a lot of photographic images. And now, this web page doesn't affect my computer like a lot of them. LG, Asus, Gigabyte. But this Apple web page, it has a lot of images, which a lot of times will slow down. Yeah, but so far it's pretty responsive. You know what I'm saying? So you can sketch, paint, blah 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 blah. What else? Oh, take notes. Yeah, good notes. Okay, every operating system has a note. Oh, here's a stylus right there. Every operating system nowadays usually comes with its own note. Oh, some of them are really annoying and they're more of a widget and they waste up a lot of resources. But they all do. Even Linux operating systems have their own little note. I don't get it, man. That's old school, but whatever. But they have to brag about their note, widget. Okay. 10.2-inch display, Retina. Yep. They claim that you can watch movies and work and also draw. Okay. Well, yeah, because they showed the stylus. That might be the clue right there. Okay, something about True Tone. What else? Center stage. A lot of Americans like to become the center of attention, the center stage, because they're narcissistic, egotistical, and selfish. I mean, I'm not saying all Americans. I didn't say all. Why are you so easily offended? Yeah, I notice a lot of Americans they're hypersensitive. They're easily offended. That's why I avoid them. In my real private life, I don't waste time trying to... I say hello to some of them, but I never have any serious discussions with them because that's a total waste of time. Anything you say, all of a sudden they get angry and it's like, gee, man. Okay, so that you can record videos with this iPad and center stage, huh? What else? Now the front camera is wide and it's 12 megapixel. They call it ultra wide. Yeah, 12 megapixels isn't that powerful, but the rear camera is only 8 megapixel. I think this smartphone has at least 8 and 12. I don't know if it has higher than that. And this thing wasn't expensive at all. Although that's a smartphone. So it depends on the physics, depends on how much, light the camera itself, the lens can ingest. But yeah, 12 megapixel, 8 megapixel, that's okay. I don't really care, but now I used to sell a lot of items on eBay, Craigslist, and Amazon. And this was quite a few years ago. That smartphone at that time, it probably was 5 megapixel. I doubt it was 8 megapixel. When it comes to certain instances, with photographs, yeah, it was very important and it really helped out. Even 5 megapixel does, when you take photographs of items you want to sell, it was clarity, good, sharp enough that it helped me sell items. So 8 megapixel, 12 megapixel, depends on what you're selling. Yeah, I think that would be sufficient for at least the type of items I sold. It captures images and video. That's pretty standard. You can actually scan documents with the back camera. I'm assuming that it probably could also scan quick response, the QR code. That's an acronym that stands for quick response. I'm assuming that both cameras, or at least one, would support that. I'm assuming that the Apple iPad has it just built in. Google Android does, but I don't know. The reason why I say that is you do know that, right? You might want to become aware that all the Apple iPhone operating system is not just for the Apple iPhone. The Apple iPad uses the same operating system. It does. They don't have a separate operating system for the iPad and then a separate one for the Apple iPhone. They do not. Now, it is different than the operating system that the Apple Macintosh computers use. Yes, it is. Oh, AR, is that reality crap? Yeah, I don't know what the big deal, I don't know what the obsession is with virtual reality, augmented reality. It says AR, I'm assuming that acronym stands for augmented reality, which I could care less. Wireless. Oh, FaceTime, yep, that's old school. Okay, so it does come with FaceTime, which I'm not surprised. Now, they claim that you can stream movies, this is old school, you can just download, upload data, that's nothing new. They've got a file browser here. Okay, this is similar to the Apple Macintosh operating system called Finder. I do not know. I don't have the time in the day. You may not believe me, but this is true. I've never actually owned Apple hardware, meaning I never bought it with my own money. At one time, I did obtain an Apple iPhone 5C, and is that the only? Yeah, I think that's it. I used to recycle computers. I used to repair them. So I would get my hands on Apple Macintosh, iPads once in a while, and as soon as I got one, I would, teach myself. No, I don't need to. Well, all you do is just open stuff up, click, 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 click. That's how I learned how to use a computer. I read a book. Many decades ago, I only bought 2 computer books. One was basically how to use Windows, whatever it was at that time. How to use a computer, blah, 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 blah. The other one I think was how to upgrade one or whatever it was. All you do is you use your mouse and you just click, 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 or on a tablet, click, 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 click. It does help. Yeah, it does help to go and try to find a manual. But the initials, yeah, that's how I learned. Go into all the menus and see what is available. This is kind of similar to Finder. I'm not sure on the iPad what they call it. On Apple Macintosh operating system, they call it Finder. I don't know if they actually have a name for their tool. But it looks, yeah, you can click on location, blah, 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 my iPad, blah, 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 download, blah, blah, blah. Fast Wi-Fi, we'll get to the technical specifications. I'm just quickly going over. There's a lot of photographs, so that I thought that might be productive in this live stream. Oh, it comes with gigabit LTE compatibility. They also have a disclaimer here. Write down, type it up. Okay. Yeah, now it has it's foldable. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, although I don't know, man. Oh yeah, I would pick, I don't really care. A computer's a computer, but I would pick a tablet that has a built-in keyboard over this crap right here. This bullshit where you use a virtual keyboard. No. You know what? I need to take a break. And I told you that if you were patient, that I would tell you where you could. I don't care if you're upset that I didn't tell you within the first couple of seconds or minutes. I don't care, man. I don't have to know. I don't have to help people at all if I don't want to. This is the Reality PC in Real Life Study Hour. There are 4 major tasks that I perpetrate by doing this. I create a podcast at the same time. I learn on my own. This is the time for me where I learn. I do not script. I do not edit. This is 100% freestyle. This is a study hour. I don't have to do anything. I'm not sponsored. You know? The reason why I say that is that years ago on We Censor YouTube, I used to allow comments. And one common theme was that I talk too much. Well, you know what? You can go F yourself if you think I talk too much. Get out. You don't have to watch my live streams. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to follow. I used to get attacked about that all the time. It could be my shade. I have some shade. I'm not the darkest shade out there. But compared to some people that lack shade, yeah. That's what I think it was about. Okay. Let me take a break, and then I will come back after the break, and I will show you a website where you can purchase the Apple iPad 9th generation 10.2 screen. It would be the 9th generation. They have multiple models, but I decided to include that one in the title. The A2602, they have A2604, 6. They have, 4 or 5 different models, and they start at A2602. And I'll tell you where you can potentially purchase the Apple iPad 9th generation for $249 instead of the normal $329. You can always browse to anetcomputers.com to fix your most common computer problems. I have partnered with a third-party company whereby you can communicate with real computer technicians over real-time chat, SMS text message, email, telephone, video, and remotely. Depending on what platform that you are watching this, whether it's a live stream or it's archived, look down below in the description and there will be a web link that will take you directly to the anetcomputers.com Get Tech Help page. On that page, there are further details about the software. There is the virtual assistant that is on screen, and you just fill out as much details as possible about your computer problemo and carry on. This service is available 24 hours a day. I am not getting paid. This is not a sponsorship. If you use that service, I receive a commission. And then remember, on the Get Tech Help page, there is further information about the software. Okie doke. And no, I'm not obligated. I don't have to. I could if I wanted to, is not speak that much and just and study on my own, and then that would save me a lot of time. But number one, I create a podcast. Number two, I'm learning. I'm studying. I'm taking the time. And number three, I'm live streaming. Number four, it creates a video archive. So can you imagine all the time I would waste or spend? So I kill multiple birds that lack shade with my brown stone. 4 of them, if you want my, Okay, now if you click on buy, I'll go back. I know where I'm at. But if you click on buy, and was directly from apple.com, I don't have to ever tell you that. I don't know why I continue to do that, because that's how I roll. You should have figured it out. All you had to do is look up at the Uniform Resource Locator in the address bar. If you notice here, if you buy it from Apple, it is $329 or $27.47 a month for a year. And then I'm not going to discuss trade-in or cash back or anything. I'm telling you that the price directly from Apple is $329, and I just showed it to you right here. It says from $329. However, I found it at Amazon, and I think it might still be in stock. Now, this is a lengthy Uniform Resource Locator. You could try to type that all in, but it would be impossible because it actually it keeps going on and on and on. So that probably would not work, but what you could do is you could look on Amazon.com and look for the Apple iPad 9th generation, the A13 Bionic microprocessor, 10.2 inch display, the 64. Now this is a 64 gigabyte model, and chances are that if you pick the 128 gigabyte, that alone would change the price. You know what I mean? So this is probably, that could be the quote-unquote cheapest model. Well, that's because it only has a 64 gigabyte hard drive. That's not much space. That's very bare minimum nowadays with all the bloatware. The cameras, I don't really, again, in my life, you know, I don't really need much beyond 5 megapixel, believe it or not. But, you know, 12 and 8, that's sufficient. But it's possible that the other Apple iPad, the 9th generation model, they may have some that have, what, I don't know, 16 megapixel, 25, whatever. The all-day battery life, we'll get to that. But look, you might be able to save 24% because as of this live stream, you can purchase it for $249 and it is brand new. And they even link to the Apple Store right here. But you would want to verify on your own. I never guarantee anything. I never recommend anything. I never give out advice. You're not going to blame me because you waited too long, or by the time you did, you know, check it out and found this page on Amazon, they were sold out. That's not my fault. I'm just telling you that I know that the day after Thanksgiving, the price dropped on this actual device, brand new ones. And it looks like right now they're dropping, and that makes logical sense because you have the Consumer Electronics Show that's upcoming in a few days. Also, it's the beginning, well, that's dumb shit. I don't celebrate that. I don't observe that. That's just abstract. But the quote-unquote new year, whatever that abstraction is, it's just a different number. Who cares? Time. Those are man-made constructs, and I have discussed those issues, but most people are wouldn't know what, I don't know. They would think that's strange, but time, that's a man-made construct, so I just don't care about that. Some humans, they think that you have this year and then next year. Well, but that's just abstract. That's just a man-made construct. Time itself is a man-made construct. Does it really exist, or can you go back in time? Can you go forward in time? Get it? Time is abstraction. A calendar, that's abstract. Days is abstract. Hours is abstract. Minutes is abstract. Seconds is abstract. I don't allow that stuff to bother me. I don't really, but whatever. It is what it is. In the abstract, for some reason, the prices on this physical device has dropped. The price is also abstract. You know what I'm saying? And okay, so as of now, you could buy it, the model. It has to be this model right here, $249. Okay, let's move on. They even say free returns, free delivery. I don't know about that. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Well, it says Amazon Prime here. You might have to have a Prime account, or I don't know. You'd have to look into that, but the price is $249, so that's quite a drop. Okay, let's return back. And then we can continue on where it took me back where I was at. Yeah, that's good right there. Yep. I have owned a few tablets in my lifetime. Much better than that jalopy. I wouldn't even waste time on a smartphone trying to become productive, trying to write a blog post, trying to create a video. Well, that's not true. I lied, but not intentionally. On occasion back in the day, I would use a smartphone to record video, but nowadays I wouldn't even bother because I would prefer to get like a real, like a camcorder or even a web camera with a little tripod and connect it to my computer. But on occasion maybe, but a lot of times the audio isn't very good, the microphones are weak, and you have to actually, when you record the video, you have to actually have your mouth like almost nearly against it, like you're kissing it. Otherwise it's not going to capture your audio your voice very well. But yeah, no, I don't think I'm a prude. I don't think I'm stuck up, and actually, some of the best videos on We Censor YouTube didn't even use a camera. Somebody used their computer, they didn't speak, they opened up Notepad and they typed in, the instructions, and they were correct or they were accurate. Yeah, YouTube is all about the pomp and circumstance. It's all rigged, and so I don't really care how you make a video. I don't even care if you appear on camera or not. I could care less. As long as you help me out, that's what's important. You could do it for anything. But anyways, personally, yeah, wasting time with smartphones. Whereas this, now the keyboard it's going to be still small, but at least it has a physical keyboard. And it's got a 10-inch screen. And, you know what I mean? Yeah, I could probably blog on that thing. I don't know. Yeah, 8 megapixel, 12 what was it, 8 and 12. Yeah, that's sufficient enough for video. As long as it's 720p, as long as it's 1280 by 720p, I'd just be fine. I don't know about the audio quality with these iPads. I couldn't tell you that. As long as it was loud enough, yeah, I think I'd be good to go. My content is different. You could get away with mono. I used to convert my podcast into 32-bit mono, and then, what was it, 1100 megahertz. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Oh, it comes with the iPad operating system. Well, it's basically Apple iPhone operating system. It's basically the same thing. You know what I mean? What did I skip? Oh, the pencil. Well, I call it a stylus. They call it a pencil. It's the same thing. It's a styleful pencil, or a pencil stylus, whatever. Stylus, pencil, it's whatever. It's the same thing to me. You know what I mean? But they call it a pencil. Okay, but they use some kind of metaphor about putting a pen to paper. Well, there's a difference between a pencil and a pen. The smart keyboard? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. No, it's blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it has a smart keyboard that folds up. That is productive to me. Yep. That is how I would roll. Yep. They claim it's lightweight. I don't know what that's about. They have a disclaimer. We'll get to that. Yeah, that's a good, yeah. A real keyboard. Yep. Yeah, that's logical. It comes with the iPad operating system. Now, this might be a different operating system, but I'm pretty sure that some of the Apple iPads use the same operating system. They may have changed that. Now, they mentioned multi-touch display. Yeah, it may be designed because this is 10.2 inches. It also has a real keyboard, and it supports multitasking. Yeah, let's check out the iPad. Yeah, you know what? I want to refrain from that. Later on, if I have time, yeah, almost every, section here, you notice all these other links. I could be here all night. Learn more about the pencil. Learn more about the smart keyboard. Learn more about the operating system. Learn more about blah, learn, blah. But this is exactly how I roll. This is the Reality PC and Real Life Study Hour, man. Oh, some more images, widgets. Yeah, I'm tired. I don't care what operating system. Widgets to me are overkill. They're bloated. They're bloatware. I don't need all that crap. Me personally, I don't need a weather widget. I don't need a clock. Well, most operating systems have a built-in digital clock, but now they got widgets. You can change the time zone. You can also then load multiple clocks from. You could potentially maybe have all clocks for every time zone. But those widgets are bloated. Bloatware. A calendar widget. It goes on and on and on. And all of a sudden, you notice that your computer is slow. Well, that's because you got all this crap in the background running called widgets. Okay. Some of these are old school. Okay, they have a photographic, a map. They've got messages, news, mail. Oh, and Safari, the Apple web browser, of course. And then the Apple application store, of course. And then more photographs. A lot of photographs. And this web page loads pretty, responsive. Some websites, oh my God, they're just so bloated. Yeah, all these computer manufacturers, they always brag about privacy, and then but what they don't tell you is that a lot of times they suffer data breaches. Yeah, but they never want to talk about that. Okay. They claim it's designed for everybody. Well, accessibility they all have that. Most modern operating system, even Linux, they've got accessibility features. That's nothing new. Augmented reality, what for? Why? Environment. Oh, Apple is carbon neutral. Uh-oh, here we go. Look, the number 23, which is the number 32 inverse. You may think I'm a conspiracy tard, and I don't care what you think about me. You might want to study Agenda 2030. There was Agenda 2020 or Agenda 21, something like that. Then there's Agenda 2030. There's even an Agenda 2050. It deals with the United Nations. But I better not discuss those type of subjects, otherwise I'll get banned off of all these platforms. But that's an interesting number, the Agenda 2030. Okay. And blah, 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 blah. Now, here are some accessories that you could purchase. The Apple Styleful Pencil or Pencil Stylus. The Apple AirPods. They have cases. You can get can you buy a different keyboard and connect it? It looks like covers. Yeah, very important. A case, yes. I don't know why it is not industry standard. It could be that these technology giants are stingy. But I think that when it comes to all these devices, now except for me, I would say a desktop computer, most of them, even the ones that it depends on, but most that you buy at a store, the case, that doesn't mean that you could drop it off of a two-store patio or off of a building and expect it to boot up. But on average, no. But laptops, tablets, dumb devices, smartphones, they should include a case. And to me, they should be built more rugged. Some of these, you sneeze on them and they shatter. Some of them, you drop it once. And that includes Apple. Yes, sir. There is real anecdotal evidence that the Apple iPhone 15 is not perfect, meaning it is not a tough. Now, it's not as tough as you think. People have tested with the bend testing, it snapped. People tested it dropping it, it got scratched up compared to what, I don't know, it may have been, I can't remember, it was like a Google, maybe not a Google brand, but it was a quote-unquote Android type type of a smartphone, right? They should, number one, manufacture these to last longer. Number two, provide a case, or they could include it into the price if they wanted to. If they're that stingy or if they're that obsessed with money, they would just no, it wouldn't be an accessory. No, when you bought a tablet, doesn't matter what brand or doesn't matter what the operating system, just any tablet, it would come with a case automatically. They could increase the price if they wanted to. That makes logical sense. You drop any of these devices, holy crap. Look out, man. And the amount of money that they charge, wow. And I don't think, well, it depends on. Now, I think Apple Care, I think it may protect you if it's accidental. You'd have to look it up. You'd have to look up their disclaimers, their legalese pertaining to what you receive with Apple Care. But I think, I could be wrong, I think Apple Care may actually cover accidental. That doesn't mean that you can throw it. Oh yeah, they might be able to tell. Yeah, I would say that if you admitted it, or if they found out, they could tell that you didn't just drop that Apple device, but you threw it. No, that's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these warranties, they don't actually cover accidents. They don't. You have to again. That's where you have to read the fine print. You do. A lot of times accidents are not covered. It doesn't matter what company, or there's the AirPods, you know what I'm saying? And then, what else? Yeah, credit. Yeah, a lot of people are criticizing the prices that people are receiving for trade-in. They're not really too happy about it. Again, I'm not a YouTube technology shill. I'm not sponsored. I'm not affiliated with these kind of companies. When I am an affiliate marketer part-time, but right now I don't have that many hardware connections yet. It's a lot harder than you think. I'm working on that. But when I do, I always disclose it. So there's nothing, I don't have, like, it's not like I benefit off of lying to you, or I benefit off of being biased, or I benefit off of, no, I don't. If I don't agree with something, although that's another dumb shit duality, agree, disagree, yeah, whatever. No, when I'm not on that same page, or I just, no, I don't care. No, that's not how I roll. A lot of these YouTube technology shills, you can tell they're either sponsored or somebody's paying them, or they gotta shut their mouth. They can't criticize. They can't tell you no. They just gotta bloviate. It's sick, man. They literally act like they're in love with what they're talking about. They're in love with the hardware. It's like, give me a break, man. You're a sellout. I mean, oops. Yeah, a lot of people have heavily criticized Apple's trade-in. That, boy, the prices that they promise, or, well, basically you have to have a mint. And they have a chart. Any blemishes, any scratches, any major, you know what I mean? It can reduce the value, and a lot of people are not happy with the trade-in values. But hey, it's like, well, what do you expect? These are companies. Do you think that they care about you? No, they care about themselves. They care about their bottom line. Why would they give you more money than they could? Because it's going to eat away. I think about it. What do you think that these companies do with these devices if they even accept trade-ins? They have to try to sell them off somehow, right? Well, I don't know. Maybe tax write-off? I don't know. But again, that's how a company works. That's how capitalism works. That's how companies function. They care about the abstract. They care about how much money they can make. They don't care about, that's all really they care about. Companies spend a lot of money on accounting software. There's CapEx. It just goes on and on. They spend a lot of money on lawyers and all that. Yeah. I'm surprised that Apple even has a trade-in at all. I'm surprised they even have a trade-in program, quite honestly. Okay. Which iPad is right for you? Now, these are comparisons. I'm not going to go over this, but I just want to show you again that the advertised price is actually $329 for the Apple iPad 9th generation. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to go over any of these other ones. You know, just I'm sticking to the 9th generation. Specifications. These are redundant. Oh, they didn't go over that. It has RGS, which RGB is an acronym which I think stands for red, green, and blue. Yellow and green makes blue, or no, yellow and blue makes green, or whatever that dumb shit advertisement was. We already went over the microprocessor. We already went over the front camera, the rear camera. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it does take 1080p video. Up to 1080. That's not bad. Me personally, I don't need anything beyond that. I don't need 4K video. That's overkill. Somebody wrote, I don't know if it was clickbait. I didn't really read it, but I read the title of an article. It was something pertaining to the fact that, 8K has flopped and does anybody buy it? And yeah, 8K video technology. Is it a bust? Why does it exist? Does anybody own 8K hardware or software? Or yeah. To me, 4K is overkill. I'm just happy with 720p for now. 1280 by 720. That's what I record in. I refuse to broadcast, live stream. I refuse to live stream in 1920 by 1080. I refuse to do it. I will not do it. And I will not record video in 1920 by 1080. To me, it's overkill. My videos are not, that's not necessary. Now, if I knew for a fact that I would get more views on these rigged platforms, yeah, I might reconsider it. But I don't see any indications of that. Okay, 1080p video. Yeah, not wrong with that. That's 1920 by 1080. Okay, a touch identification in home button. Okay. Oh, it comes with a lightning connector. Now, this is the only time I'm going to compare. You notice how that the 9th generation of the Apple iPad, that is now a few years old, but who cares? It's still very popular. And the fact that Apple did not release an iPad this past year makes it even more valuable. You notice the other ones have universal serial bus type connector, the USB-C, which is rounded, right? All of them except for the 9th generation has the older school lightning connector. However, most likely you could buy an accessory adapter. If you wanted to connect that tablet to, let's say, a smart television or a smart monitor, but that device has only universal serial bus Type-C connector, you could most likely get a Thunderbolt to USB-C type adapter. But that's interesting that even Apple, I think this year, the Apple iPhone 15 is the first Apple iPhone that does not support Lightning connector. I think they retired it. Yeah, they went and transitioned to Universal Serial Bus Type-C. Yep. Now the Apple Macintosh, the M3, I'd have to look that up. I may or may not be creating a video pertaining to that, but it just depends on. That may or may not be foreshadowing. Sometime down the road, I may make a live stream pertaining to the M3 specifications. I'm trying to recall the M3. It may have been a hybrid. It may have the old Thunderbolt. It may have the Lightning, or it may have the USB-C. I'm trying to recall. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll get to it. That doesn't affect my life, so I don't care. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? We'll get to it. 4G LTE cellular. It did not support 5G. That's not a big deal to me. But yeah, 5G. Is 5G a flop also? Is 5G a flop? Is there that? How many people own a smartphone that supports 5G? How many people have a data plan that uses 5G? Technology. It could be a little while longer until 5G takes off. I don't know for a fact. I don't need data. I don't need internet access everywhere I go. I carry that dumb thing with me just in case I need to take video, or I can't discuss that, but there's airplanes that travel above us and they spray. I call it airplane spraying. It's real. It is. And on occasion, this is for my activism, I record videos, showing people that, hey, look, check that out. That airplane just flew over and it left a trail, and then that trail expanded and now you have thin clouds. Yep. Okay. But other than that, and emergency, some one of these lunatic Americans starts shit with me, or they approach me, or they confront me and they get out of control, and I might have to. I'm not paranoid, but you just never know. And I don't really worry about it, but technically, I guess the newer smartphones, they all have 911 capabilities. So even if you do not have a data plan, somehow you're able to still make an emergency phone call. So who knows? But I don't really carry it because of that. I don't worry about that, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's an albatross, and it stalks me, and it just comes with me everywhere I go. And even though I don't have much use for it, I don't, just whatever. Oh, it supports the Apple Pencil, the first generation Apple Pencil. Well, I call it a stylus. It's just basically the same thing, but whatever. It also supports a smart keyboard, which I thought was productive. A real smart keyboard, not Bluetooth. I don't know about Bluetooth. I'm just, my experiences with Bluetooth, it's okay. It's okay for transferring data. Now, the last time I tried to play music over Bluetooth, it could have been the laptop computer I had. It could be this jalopy. The Bluetooth, it would cut out like every few hours, every hour. I don't know. Eventually, it would cut out. And then what I would have to do is usually on the jalopy itself, known as the smartphone, I would click on and I would disconnect the Bluetooth and then reconnect it, and bam, it would start playing the music again. That's kind of a pain in the ass. That to me defeats the purpose. So I'm not sure. As far as some people use Bluetooth headsets to listen to music from another device, some people actually take telephone calls over Bluetooth. I don't know. I've never tried that. I would be pissed off if it dropped one time, let alone if it was obsessive compulsive. So my experiences with Bluetooth have not been that great. It could have been that laptop. It could have been the operating system. Who knows? I don't know. I would have to test that further before I would rely on it. You know what I'm saying? But I have used it to transfer data. Most times I don't have that many problems transferring data. Once it opens up the virtual pipe, the virtual transfer, and starts transferring data, normally it doesn't drop. You know what I mean? The bandwidth isn't the greatest, but that could be the hardware limitation. The newer versions of Bluetooth, which I think at the time of this live stream video creation, is 5.4. So the fourth generation of Bluetooth, the third generation of Bluetooth is going to have less bandwidth. You know what I mean? But for my live stream, no way. I would not waste time transferring when I record. I do record it, yeah, because I have to, because you just don't know. Plus, you know what I mean. It's over 2 gigabytes every time, you know what I mean? And I cannot imagine, with this jalopy here, transferring 2 gigabytes over Bluetooth, and you know what I mean? But I do use it to transfer data, and it works pretty well. Okay, so that's a good thing. It supports a smart keyboard. It's not full size, but it is a physical keyboard. That's productive to me. The pencil is productive. Yeah, It instead of sitting there with your digits or your chicken scratching, you just take out the style. Oh yeah, back in the day, I actually owned a Research in Motion Palm Pilot, and at first I thought, what the fuck is this? And what is this pencil? What is this stylus? But I got accustomed to it. I actually started to like it. Instead of sitting there using your fingers, and I would just take out the stylus and click, 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 click. And even back in the day, you could draw with it. You could, write, and yeah. So nowadays, I just, the sky's the limit compared to back in the day. So actually, you know what I'm saying? This has some, at least to me, it is productive at a certain, it's a limited, but who cares? Okay, anything else? Yeah, I'm not going to go over the blah, 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 the ordering and the blah, blah. Now the disclaimers. They claim that, I'll go over this quickly, but they claim that you can, yeah, I've heard this before. I think you can actually have your Apple Macintosh computer and maybe your iPhone engraved. It says that you can engrave your iPad with your name or a personal note for free. Engrave your iPad with your, well, wait a minute, what do they mean by engrave? Anyways, is that like a real engravement on the hardware? Anyways, oh crap, I don't know what that was. Oh, now here's the disclaimers, okay? Now the display on this Apple iPad, well, all of them they claim that were compared, but I'm only going to deal with the 9th generation. They have rounded corners. Yep, they measure it diagonally. That's old school. And then, so I'm looking for the 10.2 inch screen. They don't mention the 9th generation, which is 10.2 inches. They don't mention that. They mention the 10th generation. They mention the professional, the pro. They don't mention it. I'm assuming, I could be wrong, that even with, maybe not, the displays have rounded corners, but they don't mention how the actual screen is for the 10.2 inches, so who knows. It could be smaller than that, actually. It may or may not be. A data plan is required, so 5G and LTE available, but remember the Apple iPad 9th generation that I'm featuring in this live stream, it does not support 5G, so, you know what I mean, that could be a problem for people that, does anybody own a 5G plan on the planet? Okay. Now, speed, yeah, this is always a disclaimer. Speeds are theoretical, get it? Yeah. Here's a tip. Generally, when these companies brag, it doesn't really matter what it is. They brag about how fast that microprocessor is. They brag about how much disk space. They brag about how much random access memory. Or they brag about the speed. You have to read the legalese. You have to read the disclaimer. You have to read the fine print. A lot of times, no. No, because it could be turbo mode. It could be boost mode that they're talking about. Or they just admit it. It says right here, speeds are theoretical. Speeds are theoretical. And they also vary. Based upon condition. Yeah. And also your carrier. Yeah. So they oh yeah, blazing fast. And then you test it out and you're like, well, I think I had faster speeds with 56K dial-up, but you know, my eyes tell me that it's similar. I mean, okay. Now, the Universal Serial Bus Type-C, oh, that requires the Apple Pencil adapter. Now, but that's with the 10th generation. Let's move along. That's not the 9th generation, so let's move along. Trade-in values, I'm not going to go over that. There's some people that are not happy about that. It really depends on. To me, my study of that, which wasn't really like a scientific study, but I did study that and look into that. That Apple iPad would have to become mint condition, no scratches, basically brand like it was brand new, no scratches, no defects, no scratches on the screen, no dents, no chips, and it's certainly no, the screen could not be damaged at all, nothing, just immaculate, meticulous. The condition of the iPad too. I'm not sure. Now, I'm not sure when you go in to trade an Apple product, what about the operating system? It could be junked up with all kinds of crap because you could have malware or spyware viruses on it, or it could just be bloated, it could just be bloatware. And then the individual that is supposed to value that product in the abstract will notice that iPad is slow, when what they would want to do is they would want to restore it to factory. Is that what they do? Do they restore it to factory after they help you with your data or whatever, backing up, recovering, whatever, and then they call you and then say, look, we restored it to factory, we inspected it, we're going to give you about 10 cents. I mean, I don't know. My logic tells me that's what I would do. I would not ever rely on somebody bringing in an iPad and I'd be looking at, well, with a microscope. I mean, yeah, with a microscope. Well, let's see. Well, what's that? Is that a dust particle? Is that a aerosol particulate from the planes above us? I mean, what is that? Oh, my bad. That might be dust. Well, and spend an hour doing that, 2 hours, 10 hours. And then they open up FaceTime and it takes forever. And then they conclude that, yeah, they'll give you $10. Whereas me, no. I would immediately restore it to factory, and after the hardware inspection, then take it and maybe even benchmark, open up as many applications and see how it functions, because again, they have to sell that off to somebody. And then I wouldn't want to sell some jalopy that it may look brand new, it may look mint condition, but it may run like the Ford Edsel. And then you're ripping people off, or people would be pissed off. But I don't know. I don't know how the procedure is. I just do not know. But that could all make a difference when it comes to trade and value. That's what I've studied. That's what I found out. It can. Yep. Yeah, they even admit it here. Trade and values they vary. They do, predicated upon the condition, the year. Yeah. What do they mean by that? I'm assuming the year of the device, how old it is, maybe the manufacturer year. Also, the configuration. Yep. And then they even admit that not all devices are eligible for any kind of a trade-in value, which would be a credit towards. I don't even know if they give you cash back. They may not. I don't. You know what I mean? They may not. They may. Yeah. You trade it in, but you have to use the credit for a new device or services or whatever. Okay, I'm not going to go over any of that. I just wanted to let you know that they even admit that the trade in value is not concrete. Now, the battery life, here is their disclaimer. Also, they admit that it varies depending on the type of iPad that you own and the configuration and the amount of bloatware, the amount of malware, spyware, viruses. I mean, it just depends on how you use it. So, whatever. Now, a data plan is required. Now, what is this dealing with? The speeds are theoretical. They admit that again. That has to do with number 2. Anyways, we'll move on. The Apple Pencil. Yep. Now, remember the 9th generation iPad that I am featuring in this live stream? It only supports Apple Pencil, the 1st generation. It doesn't support 2nd or beyond that. But it does support the Smart Keyboard, which that looks like it's an accessory, actually. It says Smart Keyboard sold separately. Oops. So that $329 price, it looks like it doesn't include the keyboard. I'm not sure how much the keyboards are. Yeah, I don't care about the credit plan or, monthly purchase plan. I don't care about all that crap. I just wanted to go over some of the hardware disclaimers. Okay, I think that's enough. Yep. Remember, that was the Apple iPad 9th generation. The screen is 10.2 inches right here. Now, they didn't mention the 9th generation. The screen might actually be smaller because it's rounded, but they didn't specifically discuss the 9th generation, so who knows. It's close. When you're down to the millimeter, if you are, when you have to use a microscope, to look at, let's see, when you have to have a microscope or, and then you argue, well, get it. My Android, the screen is, 10.6 inches. Yours is only 10.5. Yours is a millimeter smaller. Well, if you argue over millimeters when it comes to a screen, cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. These smart devices have never been productive to me because they're too small. The screens are too small. And they have virtual keyboards. They're absurd. I'm a blogger. I'm a video content creator. I'm a live streamer. Back in the day, I used to support people. Yeah, I used to support clients every day with their computer problems. Every day, all kinds of crap. Just the sky's the limit. I would have never even attempted to use one of these to, help them. Now that company, which I'll never mention, they did have a smartphone application. I installed it once, and it was a pile of rubble. It was a dumpster fire. It was garbage. It was garbageware. They bragged about how great it was. They bragged about, well, you can help people on the smartphone app. You can help your customers now, or you can assist. I'm like, no. And how would I remotely connect in? Yeah, I'm going to remotely connect into their computer, and then, what? That application was awful. It was buggy. It would freeze up. It wouldn't work. I was like, what? Huh? And even if it did work correctly, no way. I need a real computer. Give me a real computer. I would take an Apple iPad any day of the week over this crap, and that includes an Apple iPhone. I have to have a certain size screen. I have to. Even a tablet, a 10-inch is those Amazon Fire 7-inch and 8-inch screens. Now, let's see, what size? No. The first tablet I ever bought was awesome. It was a Fujitsu. It was incredible. And it had a larger screen compared to most tablets, and it had physical universal serial bus ports on it. It did. I could hook up a real keyboard to it. That's why I bought it. A standard keyboard, a full-size keyboard, universal serial bus Type A. It had 2 ports, and I hooked up a mouse. And believe it or not, now on that tablet, I don't think it was 7 or 8 inches. I don't think it was 10 inches. It came installed with Microsoft Windows 10 operating system, and I just decided to use it. But I actually did use it to work. Believe it or not, one time I was hanging out in my vehicle. I used to own a vehicle. I'm not going to tell that story again, but the Extended Stay America hotel that I was staying at one time, they stole my vehicle. It was all legit. I had the tabs were current. It was registered, blah, blah, blah. They stole it from me. Nobody cared. And I haven't driven a vehicle since because I refused to. You know what I mean? It deals with government, but I better not discuss that because I may get banned off all these platforms. You can't discuss the A word and the Y word. Anarchy. Oops. Seriously, in all seriousness, I better not discuss that subject any longer because you just don't know. Anyways, in that vehicle, I actually had that tablet, and I went for a walk at a local park, and I thought I would just test it out. I connected I also had a universal serial bus device. I had one of those. Anyways, what it does is it amplifies the signal, and so I was able to connect to a router and get on the internet, and I was working. Because I had a full-size keyboard, I had a full-size mouse. A 10-inch screen is still tiny, but I was able to get the job. And I even was able to remotely connect into people and help and try to fix their problem remotely. Yeah. I want to see you do that on a dumb device. I want to see you do that on a smartphone. No. So at a minimum, the screen would have to be 10 inches for me. But a lot of these tablets, they don't have physical universal serial bus type connectors. They may have Bluetooth. I'd have to study that further. I'd have to test that out. That might work out. Other than that, they have, universal serial bus type C. But what you could probably do is you could buy a universal serial bus type C, a hub, and then you could connect. Then physically you could connect a keyboard. Yeah. You might be able to do that. That might be a workaround. But that Fujitsu tablet, and it had a decent camera. I took photos with it. I took video with it. Wow, but it was incredible. And later on, I installed Linux on it. Didn't have a problem. I connected a universal serial bus type A flash drive, probably 2.0, installed Linux on it. I think at that time, what Linux was it? I need to take a break because I'm getting thirsty. I need to take another break. What did I install? I installed 2 types. MX Linux was one, and then Mint Linux Mint I installed on it. Yeah. And I actually worked on that tablet sometimes. Yeah. I mean, I didn't, I didn't prefer it, but I actually did. And I could surf on the internet with it and become productive. That, no. Okay, let me take a break. Yeah, I have criticized Apple a lot, but a lot of times it's not really the hard, again, these devices, I don't care what the brand is, I don't care how much money they cost, I don't care. A computer is a computer. Me personally, if it's productive, I don't care. If somebody wants to, I don't know if I would spend $330, but I don't know. I would, Apple products are not always superior. They're not. You have to study the schematics. You have to study the specifications. Number one, you have to learn the specifications. You have to understand, then what does that mean? What does all that abstraction mean? You have to understand what specifications, what they really mean. If you do not have an information technology background, you may assume that any product that Apple creates is, no. The Apple iPhone 15 has only 60 hertz. That's old school. That's not superior to me. And I don't care about that. I don't care about competition. I'm just saying, if you're going to spend $1,800 on an Apple iPhone 15, me personally, I would expect that it would have at least 120 hertz screen refresh rate, which is 120 frames per second. Or the screen refreshes 120 times per second. 60 hertz? Are you kidding me? Whatever. Okay. Let me take a break, and I'll go get some water, but before that, you can always browse to internetcomputers.com to fix your most common computer problems. If you ever want to watch my live streams in a replay loop that Facebook absolutely detests and abhors anybody loop their live streams on their platform, how dare you? At internetcomputers.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can just sit back and watch the live streams replay in a loop. On the videos page, there's also a chat room on that same page. On the podcast page, you can actually listen to my 5 most recent video podcast live streams in MP3 format for free. On the listen page, you can actually listen to my 5 most recent video podcast live stream in radio format. Yes, sir. Let me get some water, and then we'll dive deep. We'll really go down deep, way down. We'll get into the specifications. That page was full of the proverbial bull marketing, schmarketing, sales, and public relations, and the obtuse, the vernacular, the largesse adjectives, and this is earth-shattering, all that. But I skipped most of that. But that page wasn't bad. It had a lot of photographs. That's productive. And it had some technical specifications, but actually Apple has a separate specifications tab that we're going to get into. I'll be right back. And now, compared to some other computer giant, bureaucracies or Apple, if you're not aware that their support articles are basically static. What I mean by, it's a paradox. They're dynamic and static. But now this isn't one, but any of the Apple technical support articles, they always, I think, start with HT. So it's apple.com/HT and then the number. Now, they don't use pretty, I don't know why they do that. They don't use pretty, what's called pretty permalinks. But they're an authority website, so they may not have to worry about search engine optimization. However, a lot of those articles are around forever or a long time. And they often update them, and you know what I mean. So that's one difference between Apple and some other, some computer corporations, there's nothing, it's all a secret, or I don't know, you have to sign up, or I don't know, you try to call them, nobody answers their phone, you buy it, yeah, they get your money, and then there's nothing. Whereas I would say Apple, that's pretty good, you know, pretty good. Their articles are generally well written. They're an average layman can understand it. It's not too technical. It's not like an engineer wrote it per se, and they do update their articles. That's one thing that Apple is a little bit different than other companies. You know what I mean? But there's those URLs, they do not change. They don't change them. So that could be a good thing too. Now let's go to the tech specifications, and then okay. All right, now here, I don't care about the colors, but they consider that, you know, a technical specification. It comes in silver or space gray. Now, I think it's the same. The Apple M3, when they launched that at the really cheesy, I mean, the really fast, scary event, or whatever it was only the number 3. It was 30 minutes long, and I watched that, and they mentioned the fabulous color was a space gray. I didn't care about it, but I think it's the same color. I think I could be wrong, or something similar. Anyways, I don't really care. Me personally, I don't care. It could be bright orange. It could be neon. It could be, you know, pink. Get it? Pink is generally a feminine color. I wouldn't care. If that computer was productive to me, I wouldn't give. And somebody laughed at me, I would laugh at them. I get it. I would get the last laugh because I don't care about that crap. I don't care about aesthetics. A computer is a computer. That's the way I view it. It's a piece of hardware. I don't care about, my analogy is a lipstick on a pig. Well, you can dress that pig with there's nothing more annoying than when I see people walking their mutts in a park, and that animal is wearing a sweater or pants, or that is so stupid to me. And you know what else I found out? I did not know this, but supposedly some humans on this planet, especially Americans, they are putting boots on their animals in the winter. I'm not making, and it's disgusting. And they make videos and laugh about it, and the animals are clearly, I don't know, you might think this is overkill, but maybe that's that's almost abusive, because the look on the animals, they're not comfortable, they're embarrassed, they can't walk normally. Get it? Most animals, most mutts, the canine that have been heavily domesticated, right? They don't need to wear, they've got natural coats. Number one, they've got fur. They're designed to survive in the hot weather and in the cold weather. Now, I don't know about, Alaska or, Antarctica or the Arctic. That might be a stretch. But there are some, their cousins or whatever. You have wolves, and that can survive. They don't need to wear boots. Get it? Why? They don't need to wear boots. They can survive out in the cold. But that's what you have, and that's what these people do, man. And I never thought that was funny. I never thought that was ethical at all. And especially during the summer, you ever noticed an average mutt? When it's warm enough, they're panting. That's natural. That's how they keep themselves cool. That's kind of like a way to air condition themselves. And then you put a sweater on them when it's 90 degrees out, and you think that that's cute? You think that's slick? Really? But that's my analogy. when it comes to computers, you think you're cute, you think you're slick, you put stickers on them, or you buy it because of the way the box looked, or you buy it because the color. It's like, no, man. It's just, what do you? Now the hard drive capacity. Now remember, this is the 9th generation of the Apple iPad, which had a 10.2-inch screen. It only comes with 2 different hard drive capacities, either the 64 gigabyte or the 256 gigabyte. Although me personally, even on a tablet, that is bare minimum. Yeah, you're gonna 64 gigabytes with all these bloated operating systems and all the bloatware, and wow, yikes. Size and weight. So 9.8 inches by 6.8 inches by 0.29 inches, and they even measure it in millimeters. The Wi-Fi models. Now, okay, so the Wi-Fi model weighs the number 7, 1.07 pounds. They also include the weight in grams. The one that is Wi-Fi plus cellular weighs a little bit more, just a little bit, 1.09 pounds. Now it goes over the buttons and connectors, smart connector. Oh wow, I'll give them this one. Now I think it was either the Apple iPhone 15 or the Apple Macintosh computer retired the 3.5 millimeter jack, and I was like, what are you doing? Why? But this actual 9th generation Apple iPad tablet, 10.2 inch, comes with a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. That is decades old. That's old school. We're talking decades and decades and decades ago. However, the 3.5 millimeter jack, to me, is an awesome jack. It's output to input. Now, I could not tell you if this is duplex or not. What that would mean is that input and output. Can it output audio? Can it also input audio? So you could connect a external microphone using the 3.5 millimeter jack. You might be able to connect it to a mixer board. Well, you could, but I don't know if it's duplex or not. If it was duplex, that's a home run for me. Yep. Now it comes with stereo speakers. It comes with a home touch. That's redundant. We already went over that, but it does show you where it's at though. It has an on-off sleep wake button, so you can turn it on. Okay, all right. Well, yeah. Yep. When it comes to tablets and smartphones, there's a lack of space, so a lot of times you're not going to see that many buttons. And nowadays, maybe Apple will, snap out of their trance. I don't know what they were smoking or, ingesting or inhaling or consuming that day, but why in the world did they get rid of the 3.5 millimeter jack? It's still useful, man. There's so many different ways that you can use a 3.5 millimeter jack. It just makes no logical sense for me for anybody to retire it, because it's just unless some people could, maybe in the future it will be all, which I will not really jump on that bandwagon unless I had to. Perhaps in the future the Bluetooth will then will make the 3.5 millimeter jack obsolete, but as of now, right now, I don't see it, man. Lightning connector, yup. Now that is exclusive to Apple. It is not USB-C. Remember in that chart, the 9th generation Apple iPad, they're on that chart. It's 2 years old already, or wherever it is. They did not upgrade to Universal Serial Bus Type-C yet, but some of the other iPads did. So it has, but like I stipulated, there's more than likely you could buy an accessory cable anyway, so it's not a big deal. An adapter. It says it includes a nano SIM tray. Wow. This smartphone was so budget that it didn't even include a tray. But you take the cover off and it does have a subscriber identity module. It does. But it doesn't have the tray. No, wait a minute. I'm talking about the smart digital, my bad. Wait a minute. I think some smartphones do have a subscriber identity module tray, and they also have a smart digital tray. Yeah, this one doesn't have any of them. But when you take the cover off, they're hidden in plain sight. I mean, and I did record videos. pertaining to the American Telephone and Telegraph Calypso, showing people how to install a subscriber identity module card and also a smart digital and replace the battery and blah, 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 blah. Cellular models. So the cellular models include a nano smart subscriber identity module tray. Okay, it has a volume up down. That's standard. Dual microphones. That could be productive. Where are they at? This technically has dual microphones, but one's at the top, one's at the bottom. I'm not sure how good that would be. Yeah, that has terrible audio. Output is terrible. Input is terrible. But I wasn't expecting much. You know what I mean? So if you were to purchase this Apple iPad 9th generation model A20, the one that's in the title, the A2602, no, I'm not getting paid. I'm not sponsored. Also, I do not receive a commission. But this is what you would receive in the box. The iPad itself, a lightning to, oh, okay, so they have a lightning to universal serial bus C cable. However, on the actual iPad itself, it has, I already went over that, it has a lightning connector. But it one end is universal serial bus Type C. That's interesting. Now, it comes with a 20-watt universal serial bus Type C power adapter, and the screen is Retina type, and it's 10.2 inches. In the disclaimer, I didn't see them mention that because of the rounded corners that I believe this one does not have rounded corners right here. Now, the frame does, but the actual screen does not look like it has rounded corners. Therefore, it's diagonal, but it is actually 10.2 inches. A lot of the other Apple iPads, if you notice, they admitted that the corners are rounded, therefore the screen was technically smaller. It includes a light-emitting diode backlit type of display. That is not organic. That tells me that it actually has a backlight, which sometimes, I'm not fear-mongering, I don't know, but the older backlight technology, that might be one reason why a lot of, monitors and kind of display, they're generally now moving towards, organic light emitting diode, because I found out that organic light emitting diode, you don't have to have a backlight. Backlights fail. Even with the liquid crystal displays, they would fail. A lot of times they're a separate board. They're a circuit board, and then they've got the backlight. It creates a light for the background so that the screen lights up, right? But it's actually a separate circuit board. It has a separate power connector, and a lot of times they fail. So you would have to replace it. It could be the soldering. It could be something like that. I'm not sure. Now it is multi-touch. It has the acronym IPS. Now it supports 2160 by 1620 pixel resolution at 260 pixels per inch. True tone. I don't care about nits, but that's the brightness. I'm not obsessed with brightness. Well, I take that back. With smartphones, I would be, but I don't take that out for a walk. I neglect it. Whatever this beast is next to me, it's not very good outside. That HTC 626S that I owned, 6 years ago now. I went about 5 or 6 years between smartphones. I never need another one. I'm not going to tell that story again. Either I had to drive 100 miles into a physical location, or I had to use this stupid thing so that the bank would allow me access to my money again. Yeah. And but that bank, they caused that. And they never apologized. They never comped me with anything. I was so pissed off. Anyways, that's the only reason why I acquired that thing. The light outside is terrible compared to even to the HTC 626S. Terrible. Very dim. I have it cranked all the way up. So that would be where I would be concerned with the brightness nits. But me personally, I don't use smartphones, so I don't really need to be outside. I don't need to go outside for a walk in the blazing hot, bright sun, and then, I better get connected. I better send somebody a text message. I better watch a video. No. But it may be important. Yeah, it would be important if I did. It would have to be productive, but no. That screen is terrible outside. Fingerprint resistant Okay. Oh, that's redundant. The type of stylus pencil that it has, this is redundant. The chip, the microprocessor. Now, the camera, 8 megapixel, I think was the rear camera, I think. It has 2.4 aperture. Oh, digital. Now, they mentioned digital. There's a difference and a distinction between optical and digital zoom. Optical zoom is hardware. Digital is software. To me, optical is superior. But it says it will zoom up to 5 times, but it uses software. Oh, the lens is 5 element. It has panoramic view up to 43 megapixels. It supports high definition resolution photographs. It supports geotagging with photographs. That may or may not be good. If you're a privacy advocate, you may not like that feature. I don't know if you can disable it or not. You may or may not be able to. It has automatic image stabilization. It has, well, burst mode. That's right up there with turbo or boost. What burst? Well, how long does it burst? 10 seconds? Big deal. Next. Now the video recording, which supports 1920 by 1080 resolution pixels, high definition at 25 frames per second and 30 frames per second. That's a little bit on the low side. A lot of these devices will support at least 60 frames per second, but you know, for me personally, that wouldn't bother me, but it depends on what type of video you're taking. You know, there are a lot of live streamers and certain people on these platforms that, you know, take 60 frames per. I don't know why you would do that. It depends on, again, if you're just like I am. Even if you're on camera in full screen mode, if you're not moving around much, why are you recording it at 60 frames per second? Why are you doing that? Now, if you're outside in nature and you're like on a walk, or you're trying to, you know, film a documentary, or you've got some animals and they're stampeding. I mean, oops, my bad. That was human animal. The humans that stampede after the day after Thanksgiving. In that kind of scenario, yeah, you might want more frames per second, but you know, I don't understand why people they're not moving much. They're on camera, but they're recording at 60 frames per second. I'm like, why? So I can see that acne clearer. I can see the 5 o'clock shadow clearer. I can see the time on your watch. Why? Okay. It does obviously then support 1280 by 720 pixel resolution, high definition at 30 frames per second. Now, this says video zoom 3 times. I'm not sure what that means. There's optical zoom, which is hardware. There's what's known as digital zoom, which is software. They call it video zoom. Well, I don't know what that means. If it's software, it may not be that great. It may not be that good, because that would be software. So I'm not sure. According to what I studied, you want optical zoom. It doesn't matter what kind of camera. It doesn't matter if it's on a dumb device, a tablet, a laptop, a DSLR, a cam, even the expensive wireless cameras at television stations or on television. They $50,000 per camera. Yeah. If it's software, not as no. And then the more you zoom, the more pixelization, and then it looks like one of the first silent movies from, you know, the early 1900s. And I mean, well, is that an apple or is that? Oh, my bad. That's a pumpkin. I mean, sorry. Slow motion video support for 720 pixel at 120 frames per second. Okay. All right. It has time lapse capability. Video image stabilization, okay. Cinematic video stabilization, blah, 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 in both 1080p and 720p. It has automatic focus feature. It can zoom the playback. Now, these are the video formats. These are pretty limited, just 2. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. I mean, no, not HVAC. HEVC and also H264. Front camera, that's redundant, but it does support 120 degree field of view. And then 2.4 aperture again, high definition resolution, the same. This is redundant. It's the same as the 8 megapixel, redundant. Now this has lens correction, retina flash, redundant. Video calling, you can use FaceTime. Okay. The center of attention, center stage. You can use your Apple iPad 9th generation 10.2 inch screen to use FaceTime, and then you could use that over Wi-Fi or cellular. So you could actually FaceTime over the internet if that gets you on the internet. Audio calling, you can use your iPad to speak over FaceTime with audio. Same thing. You can, have calls over the internet, potentially. Speakers, it has stereo speaker. Yeah, not much information about this, although I don't really obsess over that. Some people might, but what do you expect? I wouldn't expect that a smartphone or even a tablet would have like earth-shattering audio. I wouldn't expect that you would think that you're in a concert venue or a hall or a theater. No. They don't really go. Most of these companies, they obsess over audio, whereas I'm thinking to myself, those speakers are so small. Those devices are so small that for me to expect to have like really good quality audio, I would never expect that. But whatever. Stereo speakers, that's it. Well, that's a good thing to me, actually, because I've never been obsessed with audio quality when it comes to certain devices. You don't need to obsess over the acoustics because these are not acoustic technology. Now, Bose, that's different. But a smartphone, a tablet, even a laptop, you're obsessed over the acoustics? Why? They're not acoustic devices. That's not what they're made for. You know what I'm saying? This is not a concert. This is not a venue. Nobody is touring here. Nobody is singing. If somebody wants to hear the "Where do you want to go today" sound, or the old AOL ding, or whatever, or the old Microsoft Network when you logged into MSN chat, or even FaceTime. I'm sure FaceTime makes some noises. Ding, dong, ding, or dan, whatever. Clunk or ka-chunk or whatever the noises it makes. Well, you could probably get away with mono and nobody would care or whatever, but whatever. Or no, nobody would notice, I don't know. Yeah, stereo speakers, next. Microphones, yeah, dual microphone, okay, for video and audio and even calls. That may or may not be productive, depends on where the microphones are situated. I'm not sure. It may help out, it may not, I don't know. Cellular and wireless. Now this Apple iPad 9th generation 10.2 screen supports 802.11ac, also 2x2 MIMO, and speeds up to 866 megabits per second, Bluetooth 4.2. That's a little bit old now. It's not even up to 5. That's a little bit precarious because the bandwidth is going to be different. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I could not tell you, Bluetooth 1, blah, blah, blah bandwidth. Bluetooth 5, blah, blah, blah. I could not tell you off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that when it comes to the bandwidth, Bluetooth 5 generation or version 5 is going to be higher bandwidth than version 4. Yes. That could be a bit of a problem depends on what you're, trying to accomplish, you know what I'm saying? Wi-Fi, cellular, yeah, again, Bluetooth is generally short range signals, so, you know what I'm saying? But it could be significant when it comes to streaming audio and video and transferring data. It may just be slower, blah, 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 blah. Wi-Fi cellular models, the A2602. Now, the one I included in the title is the A2602, so it's a little bit different. So I don't know if I'm going to go over this because I don't know for a fact if the Apple iPad 9th generation 10.2 inch screen the A2602 is close enough, but whatever. It may or may not be, but this might be overkill anyways. But it does support up to 21 megahertz. These are the different bands. These are the different Wi-Fi and cellular bands that it supports. LTE, gigabit, blah, blah, blah. Data only. There's a disclaimer right there. Yeah, data only. It does support wireless calling, Wi-Fi calling. If you're not aware of what Wi-Fi calling is, even that little jalopy does support Wi-Fi calling. What that means is that you still have to have a data plan. You still have to have a wireless cellular provider for completing telephone calls, right? However, now this is something new. I'm not sure when this is rolled out. Again, I admit that I went about 5 or 6 years in between a dumb device, also known as a smartphone. I survived. I never needed one. For 5 years, I didn't have a smartphone. Didn't affect me one bit. Obviously I didn't need one, right? Once upon a time, back in the day, especially the carriers didn't like that. But nowadays they support it. What that means is that you can still have your data plan, you can still have a cellular service provider, and you can complete telephone calls when you're on their network. When you're not on their network, or you could then use Wi-Fi calling. What that allows you to do, back in the day you could not do it. You had to be connected to a wireless provider or a cellular provider. You had to. Now, since I have an information technology background, there's a concept called SIP, also known as Session Initiated Protocol, which ties into Voice over Internet Protocol. And that's a separate video, that's a separate discussion, that's a separate lecture. But even on the smartphones that you had to have a cellular telephone provider, you could install software and then you could have a VoIP plan and it would work just fine. But technically, you could not use the built-in application, the phone application, the contacts, any of the default integrated applications that the cellular provider ship with, whether it's Verizon, American Telephone, Telegraph, Boost Mobile, blah blah blah. It would not work. You could not get it to work because it wasn't. They didn't want you to do it, or it just didn't support it. But nowadays you can. You can actually use the built-in, the phone application where you dial the contacts, the address book, all that crap will actually function now over Wi-Fi. I don't know why all of a sudden I'd have to study that because, think about it. They want you on their network. They want you to, pay a monthly bill, or they want you to. Now, I think you still, because I've tested it on this device and it will not work. You still have to have, I think, I could be wrong, I think it may detect whether or not the network is available. If, in reality, the cellular network is not available because of lack of signal, or you're just too far away, or whatever, or you're in the basement, down, and you got brick walls and you got, bookshelves and you got all that. Or you're in some kind of a secret meeting in a secret lodge with, certain type of, proofing, soundproofing, physics proofing, anyways, radio wave proof. Then I think it allows you to use the Wi-Fi feature. Yep. It could also be for emergencies too, eSIM, subscriber identity module, there's some disclaimer. Learn more about cellular. Data only. Okay. Now, the SIM card, that's redundant. I will move on. Location, digital compass, Wi-Fi, iBeacon. It supports micro-location using iBeacon. The Wi-Fi plus cellular models. Oh, yeah, you can actually buy, that's what I would do. Now, I don't know if they're cheaper or not, but I don't need cellular. Oh, I don't need to talk to somebody. No. And I don't need to be on the internet everywhere I go. No. So I could buy the Apple iPad, just the Wi-Fi. Now the Wi-Fi Plus cellular model has global positioning satellite and GNSS. I'm not sure what that acronym stands for. It also supports cellular. I'm going to have to look into that. You know why? If you're a privacy advocate, if you value your privacy, GPS. Yeah, I cannot discuss that subject because I literally could get banned. I know better than that. I started and I found out that I don't know if I dare discuss this. Everything nowadays is touchy. You can't educate people anymore. You can't talk about certain subjects. Even in information technology, you can't do it without getting into trouble or getting banned or, oh yeah. Yeah. But did you know that the cellular providers, they do not pay a fee for global positioning satellite access? Yep. The entity that created and invented global positioning satellite gives it out for free. They do, to the big cellular providers, and I don't think that's an accident. You know what I mean? If you value get it, because these devices, they can track you. They know where you're at. They can look up, because with GPS, they know your coordinates. They do. They know your longitude and latitude. Duh. That's what global positioning satellite technology is. You know, I'm kind of surprised that they actually sell a model. Do they sell a model that's Wi-Fi only? Although I don't trust these companies, and without cellular, that would be something different. Okay, sensors. This is redundant, but 3-axis gyro and accelerator. It includes accelerometer. That's pretty standard. Barometer. I don't know why you need to know the barometric pressure, but ambient light sensor. The actual touch identification technology now allows you to remove the lock from that iPad. It says that you can secure your personal data within applications. I don't know if you can secure your data in all the applications, and what kind of security are you talking about. If you're just talking about a password, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd brag about that. Can you encrypt the data? What kind of encryption? 256, 512? What? Is it a clear text password? But that's what they claim. Okay. You can then make purchases with the Apple iTunes Store, the Apple Application Store, and the Apple Books. And you can use Apple Pay. That will integrate. Yep. And even within applications. I don't know which one. I mean, it could be certain ones. I don't know. And even on the World Wide Web. You can actually send and receive money in your messages using Apple Pay. Now, Siri. No, I'm not a fan. It's not just Apple. I'm not a fan of this crap where you talk to some entity and they respond back about 10 minutes later, or they do not understand Ebonics per se. They may not understand slang. And then you have this long conversation with an entity that's not a real human, and then you're wasting more time. Just give me a keyboard and let me type in, and bam, I'm good to go. I've never been a fan of Alexa or Siri or the Google crap. I don't, the speech to text, I don't care about that crap, but it does have Siri, obviously. You can use your voice to send messages. You can even create reminders. And can you write a blog post? Okay, Siri, please. Okay, Siri, pay attention. Come on, Siri. Siri, are you there? Siri. In all seriousness, Siri, draft me a blog post. I want you to write me a blog post, and here's what I want you to write it. And I want it verbatim, Siri. Really? She might just, hang up. She might block me. Oh, yeah, hands-free, blah, blah, blah. Listen, blah. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of that crap. Whatever. I don't need it, but maybe. I don't know. Maybe in the future, if it actually worked right, or it was more accurate, or I don't know. Does it save me time? I can just quickly click enter. Ding. And then boom. Oh, bam. I'm done. What, Hello. Excuse me, Mrs. Ma'am, or Mr. Alexa, or Google. I don't know what you are. Are you a male or female? Sir, are you awake? I need a recipe. My wife's about to divorce me, and I'm trying to make amends. And so please provide a recipe for an 8-course dinner. Can you do that? Hello? Anybody there? Why? Okay. It's kind of like those Apple, well, excuse me, not Apple. There's a company that, if you're not aware of, They claim that their technology is going to replace the smartphones. It's an artificial intelligence pin. Yeah, you wear it. You wear it on your shirt, and then you use your palm. Not palm. Research in motion. Not the old Palm Pilots. They didn't come back, no. And then you project the image on your palm, and then it's like what? And I think there's speech to text too. It's like what? What in the world are you talking about? It took longer for me to explain that, and then when you put it into fruition, it takes even longer than that. But you expect me to believe that that's going to replace that crap? Whatever. And just because something new comes out or there's a new technology, it doesn't mean that I jump on the bandwagon. No, it must be productive. It must be faster than what I did. I've been typing on the internet forever. It takes me just nanoseconds sometimes to find something on the internet. It's called using a search engine and using proper keywords. That's it. Virtual VGA. So this deals with the display support and then the video. And VGA is old school. That's video graphics array, high definition multimedia interface, and also even DVI, which is digital video interface, which is a little bit older. Now, from oldest to newest, you have VGA, and then DVI, and then HDMI. It's supported using adapters. That is fascinating. Why? Because VGA is old. That's old. That's some of the original personal computers had VGA support, video graphics array. Then they came out with DVI, digital video interface, and actually I think technically high definition multimedia interface is the newer version of the digital video interface. The port is different, but technically I think the schematics is predicated upon DVI. But actually the Apple iPad 9th generation supports older technology. Now you have to use an adapter, but still I find that fascinating. That is fascinating. It's interesting that Apple wanted to retire the 3.5 millimeter jack in the Apple iPhones or whatever, or the Apple Macintosh computers, but then yet they support VGA. No, I don't think that's a problem. I'm just saying. I guess they just choose, and I don't know why. It's like I thought it was ridiculous that they retired the 3.5 millimeter jack, but then yet they support VGA. It's like, okay, whatever floats your boat over there. Video mirroring. You can use AirPlay, for photographs and video. The Apple Television second generation. Now you must have the Apple Television second generation or newer though for the AirPlay to work. You could also use an AirPlay enabled smart television. It has a video mirroring capabilities. It supports up to 1080p video through the Lightning digital audio video adapter. And the Lightning to, oh wow, this is wow, man. I mean, VGA is old school. It's like wow, but they actually support it. You can actually, it's sold separately, but you could obtain the Lightning to video graphics array adapter. Now VGA is the what I think it's 9-pin. A lot of times it's black, or sometimes it's even blue. Yeah, blue or black. Yeah, no, I don't recall any other colors, but it's 9-pin. And then a lot of times the video cables a lot of times they'd be blue. Now they were black cables, but when the connector they actually connected were almost always blue that I recall. But they had on the outside they had two little tighteners. They're little screws that you tighten into the port to make sure it's tight, right? The old cathode ray tube computer monitors had VGA support. That's decades and decades and decades ago, and yet Apple still supports that. It's like, wow, that's awesome to me. But on the other end of that paradox, they don't support 3.5 millimeter jack in some of their devices now. What? Well, why not? That could be me personally, that could be if this iPad did not have the 3.5 millimeter jack, chances are I wouldn't buy it because of that. Yeah. I don't like Bluetooth. I don't like it. Power and battery. Okay. Now, again, I went over that. Now, it could be that, it could have been the computer, it could have been, but my experiences with Bluetooth so far haven't been that great, except for when it's transferring data. That's more reliable, but whatever. And then Bluetooth is not secure anyways. That's wireless. That's wireless. And somebody can, possibly, but, well, yeah, there's Bluetooth vulnerabilities all the time. Maybe not every day, but there was one like a few years ago that was monolithic, and even recently there was. Did you know that there's a Bluetooth vulnerability that can affect every Bluetooth device back to 2014? Yeah, Bluetooth is a security risk. Yes, it is. You know what I mean? All models, power and battery. Now, how much? I have about 9 minutes left. It has a built-in embedded 32.4 watt-hour lithium polymer battery that is obviously then, you could charge it. It says that it will last up to 10 hours of just surfing the web. I don't know if that's true. On either Wi-Fi or watching video. While charging with the power adapter or the universal serial bus Type-C to the computer system? What? Oh, that's separate, I think. I think that's a separate statement. They claim that this iPad battery will last up to 10 hours if you just surf the internet on the web, on Wi-Fi, or watching video. Well, I don't know if I believe that one. You know why? Because video is predicated upon the resolution. When you watch a video in, as example, 144p compared to 240p compared to 360p compared to even some platforms allow 540p compared to 720p compared to 480p compared to 1080p compared to, the more that's using more data potentially. Or if you watch that video in full screen mode, that's going to use potentially more resources. So they don't really mention well, actually they have a disclaimer, but because of time constraints, I won't get into that. I would have to read their disclaimers. What kind of video? What resolution? Full screen mode? Or picture in picture? I don't know. Whatever. But that's what they claim. Okay, you can charge it with the power adapter that's included, or the universal serial bus Type-C. You could connect it to a computer. Yeah, Apple Macintosh. You might even be able to connect it to a personal computer. Any kind of, you might even be able to charge it with believe it or not, I've done it before. It depends on how much watts. But a lot of smart televisions have a USB port, and you can actually connect, smartphones and, tablets to them, and they may charge. It would be a very slow charge, but technically you might be able to charge them that way. Blah, 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 blah. Wi-Fi plus cellular models up to 9. They claim with those models that support Wi-Fi plus cellular that you could potentially surf the web up to 9 hours. Yep. Now, it includes the Apple iPad operating system 17. iPad operating system comes with powerful features. Blah, 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 blah. So it does come with 17. Accessibility. This is for people with, disabilities with regards to vision, mobility, hearing, and other disabilities. It is compatible with voice over Zoom magnifier. It comes with spoken content. So it has now that would be that is productive. I don't need to use Siri or Alexa or any of that crap to find something on the internet. I don't need to. But if I was disabled and maybe I couldn't speak, or I couldn't speak at all. I was what do they refer to people? They're mute, or some deaf people. Not all of them, but some people that are really deaf, they have difficult time speaking. Did you know that? I learned that people that can't hear correctly, that are basically deaf, like legally deaf, they can't talk either. That's because in order for humans to talk, they actually have to hear themselves. When I learned that, I was like, wow. That was like a cleansing moment of clarity. I was like, that's fascinating. Yeah, in order for you to speak as a human, you have to be able to hear too. And that is why deaf people, the way they speak is not as clear, and they have problems speaking, and it makes logical sense. That's why you would never want to make fun of them. Yeah. But now that would be productive. That's where text-to-speech would be very productive for people with disabilities. Yes, yes, yes. Magnifier, you can, speak in, and then an artificial intelligence bot will tell you whatever. Voice control, yes. Switch control. Touch that will assist them. Siri and dictation. There you go. Yep. Type to Siri. Yeah, if they can't speak or not well enough, then they would type in, and then Siri might. Well, then, but they. Yeah, there could be instances where people could still hear well enough. Real-time text, okay? Audio, closed captioning. Why didn't they mention that right away? Closed captioning would be number one on my list. And subtitles and closed captioning, yeah. People that, big time. And then live captions. Okay, so they have a lot of accessibility. All the modern operating systems that I've ever used have accessibility, even Linux. You know what I'm saying? But that would be productive. That is where you would have a technology. It would be like a Siri or Alexa or the Google crap. For people with disabilities, that would help them out a lot. That would be productive. You know what I mean? Okay, I have about 3 minutes left. A little over 3 minutes. Okay, these are the applications that are included when you purchase an Apple iPad 9th generation 10.2 screen. The price normally is $329, but you might be able to buy it for $249. Okay, the App Store, which is just the Apple application store, the books. You have calendar, camera, clock, contacts, FaceTime, files, Find My. Yeah, quickly Find My. That's similar to the Google Find. Google and Apple both have a finder, meaning if you lose it, you can find it. However, here's a quick tip. You have to enable it in advance. If you don't enable it in advance, chances are you're SOL. Just to let you know that. Google Android has that feature, so does Apple. Yep, it can help you. And you can lock it then. If you get access using the Find My Device feature, you can then lock it. And then you could also, I think both support it. You can back up data. You can factory. I think you can even factory reset it, potentially. Yeah, in case. Yep. But I think you have to enable it first. If you don't enable it, you're SOL, man. Freeform Home, the Apple iTunes Store. It has a magnifier. It has a mail. Yeah, that's old school mail application. Maps. Some people don't like Apple Maps. They compare it to Google Maps, and I don't know. I've never actually used Apple Maps. Can you use it over a web-based? I might look into that. Can you use it over a web-based interface, or do you have to use it exclusively using Apple hardware? I'm not sure. Measure, messages, music, news, notes, photograph booth. There's a photograph booth application, and there's also a separate photographs application. Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, reminders. The web browser, Apple Safari web browser. Yep. The settings that has shortcuts. Siri, the voice to the obnoxious voice to speech or whatever. Stocks, tips, translate, Apple Television, and the Apple voice memos. And oh yeah, you gotta have the bloatware. You gotta have that goddamn weather widget. Everybody loves bloat. There should be a new company called, blah 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 blah. We hate bloat, or the opposite. We love bloat. Yeah, you gotta have a frickin' weather app, right? You gotta. I only check the weather. I don't obsess over that. I don't really care. I don't watch television. And I have about 30 seconds. Now, these are some free applications that you can obtain from Apple that are separate downloads. That GarageBand, iMovie, Keynote, Numbers, Pages, Clips, Swift, Playground support, and the Apple Store. Well, I'm pretty sure the Apple Store is already installed by default, isn't it? Here are some, and I'm going to leave on this. Yeah, I need to run. I didn't even get all the way done. Wow. I told you that I would dive deep, but no, I don't think I'm going to come back, but, maybe on my own. Anyways, now, you may have to have an Apple identification for some feature and to install those applications and to install updates. You have to. You can synchronize an Apple Macintosh to a computer, and if you want to, you would need Apple Macintosh operating system Catalina 10.15 or newer, and you would use Finder. Finder is the Microsoft equivalent of Windows Explorer. Apple Macintosh operating system El Capitan 10.11.6 through Apple Macintosh operating system Mojave 10.14.6 using iTunes 12.8 or later. So you could either use Finder or you could use Apple iTunes, and then or on Microsoft Windows 10 or newer operating system, which would be Windows 11, you would use Apple iTunes 12.12.10 or newer, which is free. So that you can, believe it or not, you can back up your data, you can restore it, you can install update. Yeah, you can. You can actually I know this may sound bizarre or some kind of some kind of just strange paradox, but you can take an Apple iPhone and then using Apple iTunes, you can update it using a Microsoft-based operating system computer. Yes, you can, because I've done it before. Yeah, I know it's a bit bizarre, but it is what it is. Okay, this keeps going on and on now, so maybe on my own accord, but I need to run. I'm over the 2-hour mark, and I need to run. So that was my live stream video podcast concerning the Apple iPad 9th generation, the A2602 specifications. You can always browse to anetcomputers.com to fix your most common computer problems. The video podcast live stream replay in video format loop is only available at anetcomputers.com in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.